There's someone missing in your friend group, someone who used to light up every room with their energy, their insights, their humor. You didn't notice it at first. Maybe they just skipped a few hangouts. Then they stopped responding. Then they slowly faded into the background of your life. They're not depressed. They're not cold. They're not antisocial. They're just gone. And here's what's strange. That person, they were probably the smartest one in the room. The one you admired. The one who always had something meaningful to say. This isn't about shy people hiding away or introverts avoiding crowds. This is about brilliant, socially capable, articulate minds, slowly walking away from a world that was supposed to be their playground. We're seeing doctors step away from medicine, not because they can't handle it, but because something inside them said, this isn't it. Executives are leaving powerful roles, teachers, artists, creatives, all quietly disappearing from the spaces that once gave them purpose. And nobody's asking the hard question, why? Why are our most perceptive, most thoughtful, most intelligent minds stepping away from the center of society and choosing to stay in the shadows? What are they seeing that most people are too busy or too distracted to notice? Because once you see what they see, once you understand the weight they carry, it's not just eye-opening, it's disturbing. It starts subtly. You begin to sense a disconnect. You're in a meeting and everyone's nodding at something clearly untrue. You're at a party and the conversations feel like empty loops. No meaning, just noise. You're watching people you love chase things that don't actually make them happy, and it hits you. You're not the crazy one. The world is. That moment changes everything. When the illusion breaks, it doesn't go back together. The cracks in the system don't get patched up. They get bigger. You begin to notice them everywhere. That's the moment many intelligent people start to back away. Not from life, but from the version of life that's been sold to them. First reason, they see through the shallow nature of social norms. Let's start with this. Intelligent people don't hate small talk because they're arrogant or antisocial. They hate it because it's painfully empty. It's like trying to quench your thirst with sand. They're not just looking to fill silence, they're looking to exchange something real. Imagine someone with a mind like a deep ocean. But everyone they talk to wants to stay in the shallow end, splashing around. Over time, it's exhausting. They don't want rehearsed replies. They want real conversation. They want the kind of connection that makes you think for days after. But in today's world, conversations have become scripts, predictable, safe, watered down. People talk just to avoid silence, not to connect, not to grow. For someone who craves depth, that kind of interaction doesn't just bore them, it drains them. So they withdraw, not because they don't like people, but because they're starving for substance and can't survive on surface-level interactions. Second reason, they reject herd mentality. Now, let's talk about conformity, the silent killer of original thought. The intelligent person looks around and sees people doing things just because everyone else is. They see smart people give up their ideas, their values, their creativity, just to fit in. And they can't do it. It's not in their wiring. They can't fake belief just to belong. They bring up an unpopular truth at a dinner table and watch the air get heavy. Nobody actually addresses the idea. They just try to put the speaker back in line. The message is loud and clear. Agree with us, or you don't belong here. But intelligent people don't need to belong badly enough to betray their mind. So many choose a quieter path, not in rebellion, but in preservation. They'd rather walk alone in truth than sit comfortably in delusion. They see how society punishes the thinkers, not physically, but through silence, through exclusion, through labels like difficult, negative, or too much. The world is uncomfortable around people who question things too deeply because it doesn't want to face the answers. Third reason, they see consumerism as psychological manipulation. There's also a deeper reason many intelligent people unplug from the world, and that's consumerism. They look around and see people building their identity on what they own, what they wear, what they drive. They see a world where your value is measured in likes, your confidence is sold to you in products, and your happiness is always just one more purchase away. But they also see the system behind it, the manipulation, the psychological hooks. Make people feel inadequate, then sell them something to fix it. Rinse, repeat. It's a machine, and it's working perfectly. But to someone who sees it clearly, it feels like slavery, not forced, but chosen. People trapped in endless cycles of earning, spending, showing off, and still feeling empty. That realization shakes them. And then comes the biggest break. They realize they don't want to play that game, not at the cost of their mind, not at the cost of their soul. So they unplug, they walk away. They choose meaning over image, simplicity over status. And the world, not understanding, calls them failures, when in truth, they've just stepped outside the trap. Fourth reason, they feel the emptiness of digital connection. They also see the lie behind digital connection. We live in a time where we're always online, always scrolling, always connected. But somehow, we've never felt more alone. And intelligent people feel this contradiction more intensely than most. They don't confuse interaction with intimacy. They know there's a difference between followers and friends, between likes and love, between comments and real conversation. They go online and try to express a nuanced idea. It gets flattened into a quote, or worse, turned into a meme. They want to spark thought, but they end up arguing with strangers over something that was never meant to be debated. They look for authenticity, but find performance. They offer insight, but the algorithm rewards outrage. They try to contribute something meaningful, but the system rewards the opposite of that. So they leave, or they go silent, or they lurk without posting. Not because they're antisocial, but because they understand the difference between a crowd and a community, between attention and connection. And when they can't find real connection online, they stop wasting energy trying to force it. Fifth reason, they crave space to think in a world that never stops. Thinking takes time. Deep thinking takes space. It needs silence, stillness, room to breathe. But our modern world is built on noise. It's designed to keep you distracted, entertained, constantly reacting, scrolling from one dopamine hit to the next. The world tells you that rest is laziness, that thinking is wasting time, that stillness is unproductive. But for an intelligent person, reflection is not optional. It's survival. It's how they process the chaos. It's how they connect patterns, sort through contradictions, and build real understanding. But society doesn't make room for this. So, deep thinkers are forced to carve it out for themselves. By stepping away, they turn off notifications, they ignore trends, they disappear for stretches of time, and people start to think they're weird or aloof or distant. But they're not. They're just building the clarity that the modern world tries to drown. They know that constant motion without meaning is just noise. That action without reflection is just spinning in circles. So they choose to protect their mental space, even if it means being misunderstood. Sixth reason, they feel a moral misalignment with modern systems. This is one of the heaviest reasons they leave, and one of the hardest to talk about. Intelligent people often see the moral rot inside our biggest systems. They see kindness punished. They see cruelty rewarded. They watch liars rise and truth-tellers get silenced. They see a world where doing the right thing often leads to dead ends, and doing the wrong thing gets you applause. They look at politics and see games, not leadership. They look at business and see exploitation disguised as ambition. They look at media and see noise drowning out nuance. They look at education and see systems that reward obedience over creativity. And they realize, to succeed here, I'd have to betray myself. That realization hits like a weight, because most of them aren't just smart, they're principled. They want to live well, to do good, to stay honest. But when every path forward seems to demand compromise, they start stepping back. Not because they gave up, but because they refuse to sell out. And society doesn't understand that choice. It sees them as failures. But the truth is, they've chosen something more important than success. They've chosen integrity. And that's something no title, no paycheck, no recognition can replace. Seventh reason, they're tired of dumbing themselves down. This one hits home for a lot of smart people. For years, they've learned how to play small, just to be understood. They've simplified their thoughts, held back their real opinions, and watered down their insights so they don't make others uncomfortable. They've spent their lives translating themselves into simpler language, putting themselves into bite-sized boxes just to fit in. But it wears you down. It drains you. Because you're constantly censoring your own mind just to survive social situations. You learn that depth makes people defensive. That originality gets labeled too intense. That if you think too differently, people won't engage with you. They'll avoid you. So, over time, they stop explaining. They stop trying to be understood. They find a few people who can meet them on their level and let the rest go. It's not superiority, it's exhaustion. It's not pride, it's protection. They're not rejecting people. They're rejecting the pressure to constantly shrink themselves. Because the world keeps asking intelligent people to be more digestible, simpler, softer, more agreeable. But at some point, a deep mind says no. It decides to stay whole, even if that means being alone. And when that happens, society doesn't just lose a thinker, it loses a conscience. When intelligent people withdraw, it's not just a personal decision, it creates a ripple effect. Because these are the people who challenge systems, who raise hard questions, who say, wait, why are we doing it this way? They're the ones who speak up when silence is easier. They point out what others pretend not to see. And when they go quiet, something important is lost. You lose more than just creativity or intellect. You lose honesty. You lose moral clarity. You lose the rare voices willing to stand alone. They're like emotional and intellectual early warning systems, the canaries in the coal mine. And when they start disappearing, it's a sign something's deeply wrong with the air we're all breathing. But they don't disappear because they think they're better than everyone. That's the biggest misunderstanding. They disappear because they believe the world could be better than it is, and it breaks them when it isn't. They don't reject society out of arrogance. They walk away because they hoped for more truth, more depth, more authenticity, more humanity. And when they didn't find it, when they saw the systems rewarding fakery, punishing honesty, and worshiping distraction, they couldn't keep pretending. The real question isn't why they leave. It's why we make staying so unbearable for them. Why do our systems repel the people who think deeply, feel deeply, and live consciously? Why do we label them as misfits, loners, or rebels instead of recognizing their withdrawal as a reflection of something broken in the culture? The future is shaped by how we answer that question. We can keep doubling down on noise, keep glorifying surface over depth, style over substance, speed over wisdom. Or we can shift. We can create space for thinkers. We can stop punishing people for being complex. We can start listening to the quiet voices, not just the loudest ones. We can build communities where thoughtfulness isn't weird, where curiosity isn't a threat, where integrity isn't optional. Imagine a society that doesn't push its best minds to the edge, but invites them in, not to conform, but to contribute in their own way. Imagine valuing someone not because they fit the mold, but because they reshape it. Because here's the truth, they're still watching. They haven't given up entirely. They're still listening from the sidelines, waiting for a sign that it's safe to come back, waiting for proof that there's a place for them that doesn't require them to betray who they are. And if we don't give them that, if we keep pushing depth aside to make room for shallowness, they won't return. They'll keep retreating. And with everyone that leaves, the world becomes a little more hollow. This is our choice now, not theirs. Do we keep building a world that shames intelligence, silences truth, and fears real connection? Or do we build something better, something deeper, something worth staying for? Because the thinkers are watching, and they're hoping, not for applause, not for attention, but for change. And they won't come back just because we ask. They'll come back when they know they're not alone anymore. If you finish this video, drop a comment saying, "I still think deeply." It tells us who you are, and trust me, we need more minds like yours in this space. Support this channel if you want these messages to keep reaching the people who need them. When you like, share, and subscribe, you're not just helping the algorithm. You're helping build a home for the minds who felt out of place in this noisy world. Let's make space for those who see through the fog, for those who still believe depth matters, for those who quietly hope the world can be better, because it can. But only if we build it together.